Heading towards Jamaica, and I'm joined now by the Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who joins us live from Kingston. Prime Minister, thanks so much for your patience and for talking to us at what is literally a very busy time for you right now. Can you just tell us how prepared the island is and what preparedness you're at the moment?
So the government is at its highest level of alert and preparedness. All our entities that are responsible for disaster and emergency response are mobilized. We have 900 shelters right across the island. I would say that about 90% of them are mobilized and ready. So from a government perspective, the government is ready. The government also engaged in an intensive informationalization campaign with our citizens for the last 3 or 4 days. So from a household level, the Jamaican households have information about how to protect themselves, how to protect their property, and how to respond after the hurricane has passed. My own assessment is that every Jamaican is taking the necessary steps to protect themselves and their property and to be able to recover quickly after the hurricane. So I think the island is prepared. We are informed. Right now, we have started to experience hurricane conditions, but not yet severe. So we are still some way out, maybe 3 or 4 hours out from actually experiencing severe hurricane conditions. We are expecting that by virtue of the category of this hurricane, which is projected now to be at Category 4, and when it reaches Jamaica, it could potentially downgrade to Category 3, still a dangerous hurricane, which would cause storm surges, heavy rain, potential destruction to coastal infrastructure and residential and commercial properties. And in the interior, we may very well experience landslides. But we do have plans for that, and we are prepared.
So, Prime Minister, I don't mean to interrupt, but in terms of that preparedness, there will be a different policy for those that are living in urban areas to those that are living on the coastline. How are you advising people who are living on the coastline that would have to move, perhaps, would you say, to the interior? And what sort of numbers are we talking about?
Well, we have identified all our low-lying areas, and that is essentially on the southeastern coast of Jamaica, where we would have potential significant damage. There are shelters in proximity to these areas at higher ground, and we have implemented under our Disaster Risk Management Act an evacuation order. Once we have made the assessment, and we have made some assessments, then we will enforce those orders and assist residents in relocating. But outside of that, for the last 3 or 4 days, we have been imploring residents, and some have responded and have moved voluntarily.
Prime Minister, Jamaica is no stranger to hurricanes of various levels historically. What lessons have been learnt in the past that have actually got you to a state now, in the here and present, to be able for you to protect and reassure the public across Jamaica that you actually are in control of the situation, no matter what happens?
Well, several things have occurred. Hurricane Gilbert, which happened in the 1980s, had a signal impact on Jamaica's construction sector. So most people who are building in Jamaica actually overbuild in terms of their roofing and their structures. So we have seen a kind of shift away from zinc sheeting as a preferred roofing material to more concrete roofing. So, and in addition to that, where we do use that kind of roofing, we have put in place hurricane straps. So our building codes generally have improved as a result of those past hurricanes. So we do take some comfort that because our building codes have improved and the general culture of building in Jamaica has improved over the last 20 to 30 years, we would have, by virtue of that, mitigated the potential effect of the hurricane.
Technology in terms of satellite tracking, social media, all helps in getting the message across, as you are well aware. How do you coordinate your efforts in terms of the day after, the recovery? Because obviously there will be damage. You don't know what that damage will be. We tend to think we're looking at, areas of clean water, medical supplies. Are your neighbouring countries, your neighbours, are they prepared to help you in the aftermath of what might happen?
Well, we've had our neighbouring countries reaching out to us. We do have a CARICOM community here, and it is a really closely knit community. And I'm certain that should Jamaica require the help, we would have the support of the CARICOM community and the wider Caribbean region, and indeed from our partners in the United States and in Europe. So we're confident that the global community will support Jamaica in the event that we need assistance. But you asked earlier, what are some of the lessons we learned from disasters? Yes, the impacts of the natural disasters are usually well known as it relates to the damage to physical infrastructure, water and roads and housing. But not much is said about the fiscal impact on small island states from these recurring natural disasters, which really disrupts the growth and the economic potential of small island developing states like Jamaica. So Jamaica has been, for the last 4 or 5 years, mainstreaming climate resilience in our economic policies. And so we have built up some buffers. You're never perfectly prepared financially for these kinds of disasters, but we have improved our fiscal management to account for and mainstream in all our planning, our fiscal, our national security and our infrastructure development, this whole business of resilience and accounting for climate change.
Well, we know you have a very busy few hours ahead of you. We hope that Jamaica doesn't get hit too hard. We hope we can speak to you again after the storm passes. But for the moment, Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, thanks very much for your time, sir, on Al Jazeera.